Welcome to the Studio Chat podcast, your safe haven for self-discovery, growth, and transformation. I'm Barbara Thompson, your host. I'm a therapist and the founder of Self-Care Studio. Whether you're joining me from my private counselling sessions, my courses, or right here on this podcast, I'm dedicated to helping you reconnect with yourself and live life authentically. This podcast is your reminder to pause, reflect, and reclaim your power. Together we'll explore the messy, beautiful journey of life, from letting go of people-pleasing and overthinking to embracing your worth and stepping boldly into your true self. Here, you're not just a listener, you're part of a community that values self-trust, self-love, and living life on your terms. So whether you're navigating challenges, seeking clarity, or simply craving a dose of inspiration, you've come to the right place. Thank you so much for choosing to spend this time with me. Let's dive into today's episode and continue this journey together. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 142. Now, if you cast your mind back, if you haven't listened to episode 121, I highly recommend. It's my dear beautiful friend Phoebe Rogers. Hi, it's so nice to see you back for a second episode.
Hey, I'm happy to be here.
And
it's incredible.
And we're celebrating your book, which hasn't even come out yet. So I feel very honored and very special that, and guys, it's the first book that I've actually got that has been signed by the author, and it's a very personalized message. So thank you, Phoebe. That's everything that you've done in this book and the finishing touches I've really noticed, and it's such a special thing to have someone that really walks the talk and someone that cares about the little touches in the therapy world too. So I just want to say thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. You are the perfect person to send a copy to.
I am, for many reasons. One, because I'm still looking for love. Not that I've really been looking, so we'll talk about that near the end. But when will it happen for me? A shame-free guide to finding love on your own timeline. And this is the title of this beautiful book that Phoebe is bringing out. I think it's launching middle of June.
19th.
There you go. Okay. So I think, I know that this is going to resonate with a lot of you, because a lot of you may be like me or have been like me, and a little bit like Phoebe too, where you kind of think that to have a partner, it completes you, to have love, it makes your life amazing. And of course it does. But when we're not in love with ourselves, and we don't have boundaries, and we don't have self-esteem, and we don't have self-worth, and we don't have self-confidence, a lot of the time we think, like I did, I really discounted myself because I was like, I don't really care about myself. But what I'll do is I'll find someone that I love and I'll put everything into that person. And it's almost like my happiness would depend on them.
Exactly.
And this episode, I think, aligns with a lot of my audience too, whether you're a client of mine, whether you just listen to my podcast because you like the podcast, or you're someone that's clicked on this because you're wanting to find love, or you're even in a relationship now that you want to improve, get closer to your partner. This episode is going to be about like self-worth, love, breakups, healing, healthy love, and not settling. So it covers a lot, but I think it's all intertwined. And I really don't think enough people talk about this. As in, I was just talking to Phoebe before, and I think if I could share a bit of a personal story before we get started is, it feels cliche when people go, oh, you've got to love yourself first before you can find someone else. And people hear that. And I really thought that was bullshit. Like, oh, you gotta be okay with yourself first. Oh my gosh, I remember 20 years ago when I used to hear that. I wasn't in therapy then, but people would just kind of use it as a flyaway comment. I would fall out of my skin and be like, that is the last thing I want to do. I don't even want to spend time with myself. I just want to find a partner and be happy. And I've been married and I've been through all of that. And it's just interesting because it sometimes doesn't go where you thought it would be. It doesn't fix everything. And I just wanted to share, if you're someone like that, that is just, when I say this, how's the relationship with yourself? Do you love yourself? Do you think you have self-worth? Do you think you're enough? And if you feel uncomfortable like I used to,
Mm.
that's where we have to start. And so I think we're going to get so much out of our chat today, Phoebe. I'm just so excited. So let's go right back to the beginning. Can you take us back to a moment where that led you to write this amazing book?
Mm. I thought about this. It's probably a series of moments. I had been seeking help for my business. I worked with a business coach. She'd written a book, so a seed was planted there. And I was in my relationship maybe for a year or so and going, wow, like things are really good. I've really learned a lot, and seeing that come into fruition in my practice, like having better results with clients. And I knew I had an important story to tell, and I'd always loved writing. And then, who was my book editor, Amy? I saw her book writing course that came up maybe on my Instagram feed, and all the stars aligned. And I just thought, let's do it. it's I said to someone today, it was like I cracked the code on love and relationships, and it felt too important. I had to share
You did crack the code. Yeah. And I've dog-eared a lot of the pages in here because it's a great book of your own personal story. Some therapy techniques in there and information, like as a therapist, what you'd share with a client.
it.
It's got these incredible exercises. Like after each kind of chapter, it's a reflection and they're really good exercises. Because sometimes you pick up books and they have exercises. You never do them and you read them and you go, these ones
What?
aren't like that.
I think they're just enough. Like they're short, they're to the point. It's what, 4 questions. I don't overload you. But yeah, it's really like poignant. It's to the point. We
Yeah.
just want to consolidate all of that. And listen, I don't think you can find a healthy relationship without self-reflecting. You have to know yourself, know your patterns, understand your triggers, your feelings, and that will keep you on track to a healthy love.
Yeah. And healthy love does exist.
Mm. Oh, of course it does, but I have learned we are so responsible for choosing it. That's a big, huge lesson. Like a lot of the time, we haven't chosen a healthy love. We haven't been showing up in a healthy way. But it absolutely exists. And I think a lot of us have to come back to reality about what love actually is. It's not a fairy tale, but
Mm,
it's calm, and it's a partnership, and it's steady, and it just plods along, and you've got these shared values and a vision that's not necessarily being swept off your feet.
yeah. We're going to talk about that. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
What I love in the beginning about this book, Phoebe, is that you're really vulnerable. So, you know, you're a clinical psych, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a
Think
clinical
so.
psychologist, like I want everyone to think about this for a moment. What Phoebe does is she shares everything that she's been through to find love, and to talk about going through her own heartbreak, and also like the kicker was when I was reading that book, and you were sitting there with clients and couples
Mm, mm,
finding love or working through love, and then you were
mm,
sitting there like just trying to after the engage, after your breakup, your last breakup, like holding back
mm.
the tears. Will they notice the ring isn't on your finger? Will they notice
Exactly.
that you're tearing up a bit more? Like how was that for you? Like what was it like holding space for your clients when you
Yes. It's like, of course, I was more sensitive and porous. So I was more deeply affected because I was in touch with all of my own stuff, and properly in touch with my own stuff from therapy and really reflecting. But there was that shame of, oh, my clients had noticed, congratulated me, were so happy for me. And then to have to face that, because I do have that type of relationship with people. I'm honest and I'm myself. And so, yeah, there was a little bit of shame, and certainly moments where I cried more than I usually would. On the other hand, I think it heightened my awareness of what was going on for my clients. It's like that that emotional sensitivity, you're like really deeply picking up on stuff that's going on for people. You're really in your feeling. Um, and then you have those days where you have to be more logical as a therapist so you don't fall apart. And I think in some ways our work saves us. It gives us meaning and purpose. I mean,
It
yeah,
very much does so. But when you're talking
yeah.
about something like I can relate to that now, I see couples and stuff,
Mm,
and I'm not with anyone. So it's kind
mm,
of like, sometimes the imposter syndrome is like, why are you seeing me? Because I don't have love. So why are you seeing me? And it's like,
yeah,
no, because I've worked very hard on myself to understand
mm,
where my patterns of love, where my blueprint is, what the template, which we're going to talk about in a minute, of,
yes.
and that was just like, oh, like
Mm,
a penny drop in the ocean. Mine was a bomb that dropped in
mm,
the ocean, and I was like, uh, oh my gosh, I've got a lot of work to do, and it's no one's fault, but it just makes sense.
no, of course. Why we do what we do, of course.
It makes sense, yeah. So, what surprised you most about you healing from, love, from the heartbreak?
Hmm. Actually, how independent I've become in a really healthy way. And I'm really so proud of that. Having gone from I depended so much on my partner to understand my emotions, to be there for me, to deeply understand how I felt. And the irony is they couldn't actually. I mean, they were really emotionally unavailable, but also that's just my job and I can do that for myself. And so I'm now in this lovely position in my life, in my relationship, where we're quite separate people. Um, we don't necessarily have a lot in common, but we've got these strong values. And I think this philosophy of I just want you to be happy. So you go out into the world and do what you need to do. And that may mean you're really busy and you're engaged in work. And so I do need to rely on myself. I can also always ask my partner, and he's always there for me. Um, but this you first idea, you soothe yourself first, you take care of yourself first, and then you go to your partner. And if they're having an off day, you're going to be okay with that.
That is I just pausing because I want people to hear that. I think that makes people feel very uncomfortable.
Mm,
Oh, so I've got to soothe myself first if I'm having a bad day.
yeah, I
Not
know.
many people do. Not many of us do.
No, we outsource, and like I talk about it in the book. There's a balance, right? I'm not saying it's not that you don't ever need a person. You absolutely need a person, right? We all need someone to lean on, but you don't want to make it the only thing that you use to feel good, comforted, calm, understood.
Yeah.
You can actually do that within.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it's okay. I haven't checked
Yeah.
it. Can I read a little passage of your book?
Yeah, I'd love it. Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to read page 18, and I just want everyone to listen to this. When I read this, it showed me how far I have come with the relationship with myself, what I have done, and it resonated with me. And I think it might resonate with a lot of people. I just want to read it, and then I think people will understand why I've actually picked this little part. So it was,
Mm.
these are Phoebe's words. One of the most powerful healing lessons for me was coming to the realization that I could be the one who understands and validates my own emotions and experiences. I could be my own shoulder to cry on through the unrelenting waves of grief. That I should not and cannot depend on others to be constant sources of empathy and validation, and this can be empowering. Unfortunately, a common legacy of trauma and not feeling received validation, empathy, nurturance, and worth from your caregivers is that you keep searching for it in others, particularly adult romantic partners later in life.
Mm-hmm.
And when people, I was just read that and was like, yep,
Mm-hmm.
I had no tools. Like when you talk, I had no tools to take care of myself. I had no emotional regulation tool. I don't even know how I got to the age I did. I honestly, like, it's not even, it's funny, but it's not funny.
Mm,
Really had no way of coping. And my way of coping was, really giving everything over to someone else. And it's very
mm,
dangerous.
totally. Yeah, absolutely. Because if they're not stable, you fall down with them, right? And that's the irony of it all, isn't it? We're often choosing these partners who aren't stable, who have big emotional needs, who are dysregulated themselves, struggling. And so it just never works.
Yeah. And we move on to like the second part of what I want to talk about today is grief. And you talk a lot about grief in this book, and it's a necessary is necessary after a
Mm,
breakup. Why do
mm.
so many of us try to bypass that?
I think it's exactly what you're talking about. We have not been shown, and it hasn't been shown to our parents and their parents, how you actually sit with feelings. No one sits you down. And I think we're only just starting to show kids how to do that at school, right? But most of us have never been shown, and who wants to feel? And so we do anything but, right? And I think we also don't trust in our capacity to move through the feeling. We think we're going to get stuck there, we're going to get bogged down forever, it's going to be awful, we'll fall apart. And so it's also that we don't trust in ourselves, but that trust comes from having a toolkit, right? But it's we have to learn it, and a lot of us we don't have one. It's like drugs, alcohol, food, men, relationships. It's like anything but feeling.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's very true. And it is scary, but
Of
we need to feel,
course.
yeah, we need to feel things. It's
Yes.
part of the process.
Mm,
Otherwise, you take it, like I always say to my clients, like when you meet someone, it's like you have a suitcase and it's big and it's full of stuff, and that person has a suitcase. And then on the first
mhm.
night together, you have a big party and you swing the suitcase around and throw it in the middle of the floor and it opens and the shit goes everywhere. And your partner does that too. So why don't you come with an empty suitcase?
Yeah. A little or a little bit lighter, right? Or
Yeah.
just a way to like notice what's in the suitcase and pack it up every now and then. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, rather
Yeah.
than like swinging it around and just
Lashing out. That's and it's it can feel like we're bonding and connecting, but they're just big intense emotions and baggage. It's not really getting to know a person, actually, all of the person.
that's true. Because we put all our needs and wants onto the other person.
Yes, and it's like this projection, this hope, this fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. I've got a good one for you. What are some common ways where women abandon themselves in relationships?
Mm. I spoke about self-sacrifice earlier today, which is other people's needs are more important than my own. So, how can I be helpful? How can I make your life easier? How can I unburden you? What do you need from me? I'll do it. So, give, give, give. And not knowing how to receive. I think a lot of us are not comfortable with this idea that someone would want to do things for me, or someone just wants to spend time with me, and that's enough. So, self sacrifice and then thinking of my own story. Like I was disowning a lot of my values, a lot of my beliefs. I started not being able to talk about my work um, because my partner was really uncomfortable with mental health, and that aggravated things. So I didn't want to talk about work. I didn't want to bring that home because I was too emotional or I wasn't helping people, you know, all of these things. So these parts of myself just became smaller. I just like pack it away, just not bring it up, just not talk about it, right? Or, it was COVID and my health beliefs were, different to his. And so I was like, well, I just have to keep what I think aside, or I really try and be kind and courteous to people. And, you know, he was very stressed during this COVID period and wasn't always kind and courteous. And I wish I would speak up, but I was like, I can't rock the boat. And like that person in that relationship is very different to who Phoebe is with her clients. Not everyone likes this about me, but I'm honest, I'm direct. I say what I see, I say how I feel. And so you just become smaller and smaller. You lose your power. And so I think a lot of women do this. They just get caught up in, their partner's ideas, beliefs, way of life, way of doing things, going along, accommodating. And then one day you wake up resentful and exhausted.
You brought up, yeah, for sure. You brought up a really important point. A lot of us women, we're very successful, we're very intelligent. So we can be really powerful in one sense. So in our job or as a mother,
Yes.
like in our job, you could be very good at your job and very
Mm,
empowered and report and have a big team under you, or you can be a really good mother or all of those things.
mm,
When it comes to the relationships, you use your voice with your friends or your family and your job.
exactly.
But when it comes to the romantic side or intimate side of your relationship, you don't use your voice because you said, as all of us, I've been there too,
Mm,
I don't want to rock the boat.
mm. Yes, or yes, or I don't want to put more pressure or more stress on or make his life uncomfortable. And yep, so you just don't, right? And then life becomes really small actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
Really,
lose, yeah.
really, I was talking to a client the other day and she went, I'll be able to mention this. I did say to her, a lot of people look outside in the world and see everyone coupled up and together and like, oh my God, they're so lucky, they're so
Mm,
happy. I said, I promise you when I say this, sometimes one of the loneliest places to be is in a relationship. And I've been both. I've been lonely in a relationship and it's a
mm,
different type of lonely alone. And I love being on my own. So
yeah.
I just want to highlight that just because someone looks like they're happy or just because someone's in a relationship, that alone in a relationship is very yucky, very icky.
Yes. Yeah, if you're not being heard, seen, understood, prioritized in some way, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So alone.
Yeah, it's yeah. And then what happens is when you meet someone, it's so exciting and so amazing when you've been alone, when you've been single. And a lot of people rush. A lot of people, you've got this
Mm,
awesome term in your book. It's called the urge to merge.
yes. I think that comes from an attachment theory, but it's the urge. The urge is strong. It's like, okay, this is it. This is my person. How can I make this work? It's like we lock it in before we've even gotten to know them or know anything substantial about them.
Mm, yep. And something I feel like I say and repeat, like I love your urge to merge. I'm going to use that. One thing I say a lot to my clients is they're like, oh, he or she is so lovely, so nice. They almost have this tone when they're talking to me.
Yes.
And I'm like you, I'm very honest in my sessions. And I just sit there and look at them and they're going, oh, what now? And I just
They're
go, no,
like,
I'm just listening to you. And they're like, no, you've got that face. And I'm like,
mm-hmm,
that face is, you don't know them. They are showing you their best self right now, like you are showing your best self, which is
exactly.
amazing. But I want you to almost just look at it as if they are the best they're being right now. They're not going to get any better.
Of course. And it's when you said that voice, oh, they're so lovely. It to me, I went, oh, that's a inner child voice, right? It's like that younger version of yourself that is idealizing and seeing through those naive eyes, like everyone's good and I want to be friends with everyone and I want to be part of that. And it's I talk about in the book, like how do you know you're in a healthy adult position and assessing adult to adult, or whether it's your wounded part, your inner child actually, you know, projecting a need and it feels like they're meeting a need, but actually they're not. It's just superficial.
And
Yeah.
part of that is that, which, I don't know. I think back, like I hear all the stuff now through my
Mm,
studies, through my own learnings, through my clients.
mm,
And I go, would I really listen to it? I don't think so. But when people said butterflies and stuff, I used to get them all the time. I had no idea that that was a wrong thing. Disney and everything else. Oh, I've got butterflies. He must be the one. My
Me either.
my poor body. I'd get
I know.
butterflies every time I went on a date.
I know it's terrible, and I don't say it in the book, but one man I was saying I was having intense butterflies for. I was driving the car and like thinking of him and idealizing, and like all of a sudden, like foot on the pedal, wake up, Phoebe, get out of your fantasy world.
Yeah.
And so when you kind of get carried away into your head and into your body, yeah, you want to be questioning that pretty seriously.
Yeah, it's more the moving. I mean, as we get older, things will, even in the healthier relationships, things move quick
Mm,
because you know what you want and know what you don't want. It's different, but still,
yes,
I just want to, say to people when you've got that urge to merge or when you're saying, oh my God, they're so nice. Of course, we want to believe that everyone's nice, but we all have two sides to us.
of course.
And the best way of seeing if someone is the right person for you is when something doesn't go right in your or their life. How do they cope?
Exactly. Because too many of the times, right, we go, oh, they're stressed, they're having a bad day. Like we're justifying and giving a reason to bad behavior. It's like, no, this is how the person is going to be under stress, and life is stressful. And
Mm.
part of being that healthy adult is regulating and not lashing out at others, like you learn to manage your emotions.
Yeah, and being nice to
Yeah.
people. It's the small things like the waiter or the waitress, or if you miss the lights and the lights turn red, or it's the small things.
Exactly. Those moment to moment little things. Yeah. How people treat people
We
is
bypass
really
it.
important.
Oh, they're having a bad day, or yeah, it's so interesting. I never thought I'd be where I am. That's hands down.
Mm,
I never thought I would love myself. I never thought I mean, I've been single for, I keep saying 7 years, but I calculated the other day, 7 years this July.
right.
I think I've been saying 7 years for a while, so I must know.
Lucky seven.
I just keep saying it anyway. I don't really care at the time, but I'm just sharing with people that I never, not that I never went from relationship to relationship to relationships. That was never my deal. I'd have
Mm,
1 year single, and then 2.5, 3 years with someone. 1 year single, 2.5
mm,
years, and then my longest relationship was 8 years with my
yeah.
ex-husband. So I have been in a longer relationship, but I never thought, I always wanted that. It was an urge to, I almost had the urge to merge when I wasn't even dating someone. I'd have this,
Yes.
every Christmas would come by and I'd be like, oh, I just can't wait for next year to be better because I'll have someone. Like, it's almost
Mm,
like not my life was on hold, but I would want someone there to better my life.
mm,
When I can
mhm.
do all the things I want and
Of
someone would
course.
just be the cherry on the top.
Yes, that's exactly right. But yeah, we kind of fantasize about what a partner can do for us, and you're absolutely right. You can do it for yourself, and you should. And
Yeah.
in fact, there's probably more likely to bring the right person into your life when you're living life fully in a way that aligns for you.
Yeah. What about if you are in a relationship,
Mm,
you end it, because I know you've been in this position before. So you're in a
mm,
relationship and you end it, like you're like, oh, this is no good. I need to get out.
mm.
Why do you still grieve that relationship when you're the one that has ended it?
I think for a lot of reasons, I think you're very conscious of hurting the other person. So me, I was aware that wasn't my person, but I'd really invested in the dream actually, and I'd invested in trying to make it work. It's not like you just stop putting in effort. And so it's that pain of letting go and letting go of the life you wanted for yourself. Or, you know, again, that's a dream and a nice idea, but it's this, we're grieving, connection, a sense of family, belonging, For me, I think I put onto him like he's going to be by my side no matter what, and life is hard, and so it's like, oh, you grieving, letting go, and then also facing, ugh, I'm going to be on my own again, and it's going to feel really hard. But I've certainly worked with clients, they're grieving the person. Like they can be a good person, but not right for us. They can be a good person, and we find out actually our values have shifted. So sometimes it actually is about the person. A lot of the time, it's the life we imagined for ourselves.
The idea. That's what I
Yeah.
hear a lot. It's the idea of the person.
Yes.
We build it up to be like that, this. And as therapists, we hear that and we're like, because
Mm,
I don't know about you, but isn't it interesting when we have people in front of us and they'll say something and then we repeat it back to them and they go, did I just say that?
correct.
That-
Yes.
That's a beautiful part of our job is we sit
That's it.
and we listen to people talking. And yeah, the other day I had a client that was talking to me and she was like, oh, last night I got Thai food for dinner. And then she talked about something else for about 10 minutes. I looked at her, I said, oh, how was the Thai? What did you order? And she was, Barbara, you're doing it again. How do you, how, oh my God, how did you know I had Thai? And I said, you told me about 10 minutes ago, my job is to listen. And she was like, God, you're good. And I said,
Yes.
she was just thinking so much about what she was talking about. And when I just brought it back to, it's a heavy
Mm,
discussion, I wanted to bring it light. And I just brought back to, oh, tell me what you had. Where'd you get it from? I love
yeah.
Thai. And it freaked her out because she was like, how did you know that's what I had for dinner? How did you know? I was like, you told me.
Yes, I think a lot of us are not used to being that attuned to and that safe with a person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just love that. I love hearing people's words because we don't lie. If we listen to people's words and watch their body language, the truth is
Yes.
there.
Of course. And they say, oh, thank you for that perspective. I often say, that's okay. That's what you told me. I'm just reflecting it back to you. That's okay. Just
It
making you.
freaks people out.
Yes.
It definitely does. Okay, so I spoke a little bit about in the beginning that I didn't realize that and all of us, how we're brought up in the family unit is we learn what love is. We learn what it feels like. We learn what
Mm,
it looks like. And whether you know it or not, you carry that through your adult life. And that's what you duplicate
mm,
or copy until it doesn't work for you or whatever. So I love
yes.
in your book, you talk about the template of love.
Mm.
And I know this is, I just want to keep it nice and simple because I know we could go really deep here, but just roughly like if someone's listening to this, whether you're with someone or not, how can we explain that to them, what it is?
I say it's like a template. Yeah, so you get a stamp, right? Your early life experience is like stamped upon you. It's like that's how you know love to be. Stamp.
Yeah, I like that.
Carry that within you for the rest of your life. I mean, that's what you've got, and you operate according to those principles, right? But if that version of love is not meeting your needs, with that stamp, you're going to go about trying to get your needs met, trying harder, working harder. And is that keeping quiet? Is that pleasing? Is that achieving? It's we just work so hard from that point to get the needs met that weren't met by those early life experiences. We're driven to get needs met for affection, for empathy, for validation. And so, but often we go looking in the wrong places actually. And so we're looking for people to fill that need, but they're just, they're kind of the same version of our parents who didn't meet the need. And so we're just driven to do the same. What's the Freudian thing? Like repetition compulsion. Just like we are compelled to chase the same. We're compelled to reenact the template. I say it's like conditioning. It's
Mm.
like brainwashing in some ways. It's like, okay, yeah,
Did I read it in your book, or is it something I've read that usually we replicate the parent that we idolize the most or that we're closest to? Is that right?
Yeah, that's interesting. Perhaps. And I don't know, perhaps I see little bits of each or influences of each. I look at my father and the men I've attracted into my life and I go, yeah, that kind of fits. But then I also look at my mum and what she did to keep love and what I've been doing and go, oh yeah, that kind of fits.
That's true. I think it could be in a way that because yeah, I definitely replicated my father in all my partners. And then my
Mm,
mother, I mean, yeah, I guess there were parts of me that were like her. And
mm,
it's interesting because I think a lot of women would attract their father, and then a lot of guys that I know attract their mothers.
yes, we see
So
it.
it tends to be the opposite, but then also I do know that the one that we wanted, the one that was absent or wasn't there, or the one that we wanted the most from and didn't give it
Ye-
to us is the one that we tend to attract.
Well, go searching. That's the most unfulfilled need, isn't it? Like their presence, right? They're not available. They're not happy with us. And so yeah, we often work harder and we're trying to find an answer to that problem, right? That person didn't meet our needs. They mustn't love us. How do I get my need for love met? And we're doing it with someone who's often very similar, that very similar dynamic.
And I
Yeah.
want everyone to know this is so subconscious. This is so automatic
Yes.
until you see a therapist, until you pick up a book, most people would have no idea.
No, and almost resist it. Like it's kind of a cliche. It's like, oh, therapist, yeah, that'll be right. Like
Yeah.
they're just saying, like, it's about my father, it's about my mother. Well, my practice and the literature very clearly shows us what we do. Our parental wounding really matters.
Yeah. And a lot
Yeah.
of people, like even on TV shows, and you see a therapist with someone, many TV shows always say, oh, we're not going to talk about my childhood, really. I'm not here for that. So it's a very well documented conversation between a client and a therapist. It's got
Mm,
nothing to do with my childhood and people not wanting to talk about it. But that's where it all starts. That is where our
yes,
programming starts.
it's the programming, isn't it, of yeah, how we are,
Hmm.
how lovable we feel we are. It's everything.
Yeah, it's so for us to begin to like if we're open to if we're single or we're in a relationship and we're like, okay, I want to be better in love. I want to,
Mm.
how can we rewrite some of these programmings? Is the first key awareness of just kind of knowing?
Yeah, and I think I'm sitting here thinking it through my therapeutic model, through schema therapy. But I think you could see it through any lens of, yeah, because of the life events that happened to me early on. Are there any parallels in the present? Like, let's just play around with that idea actually and build some awareness. Yeah. Did I learn something about myself because of my childhood? Did I inherit a particular belief? Is that possible? And because of that belief, what might I be doing in the present? And so I might be holding back in dating, I might be extra accommodating. I might not take up space and let the other person talk a lot and take over with their needs. I might feel really uncomfortable being vulnerable. Maybe I've never been heard and listened to truly. And so maybe I'm attracting people who kind of keep it superficial and, without depth and curiosity. So, yeah, own the pattern. Awareness is huge. And in a really simple way, I mean, for me, I went, I just don't want to do that. I need something almost like so opposite, right? So I had to do things really differently than ever before. I had to learn to say, I feel really anxious when it makes me feel safe when I hear from you. You have to be big and bold and brave and trust that if this is your person, they want to meet a need. They don't want you to suffer in silence, right? It's, a relationship is something that is worked out together and it's reciprocal. Your partner's not a mind reader, so know your patterns and just do something differently. Actually, like just gravitate to a different choice. Wait for the person who is consistent and reliable, not the hot and cold. I think we can just be really intentional. See? And listening to your body, like if I'm anxious, a lot of the time, oh, I'm overreacting. It's actually fine. Maybe he's busy or, whatever we say to ourselves, it's like, no, please listen to
Mm.
that experience that's happening inside your body. Maybe it means this isn't safe. This isn't emotionally good for you. This isn't supportive or nurturing. Maybe it's leaving you feeling really unsure and hypervigilant and on edge. And so pay attention to that.
Mm.
A lot of the time we just carry on, right?
That's a beautiful way of saying that. Pay attention to how you're feeling. I'm going to add like the cheese on the top with the onion
Yeah.
bun. Right? I'm going to add the cheese on the top, and also listen to the words that you, whoever you're dating, says. If they say, "Oh my gosh, Barbara, you're too sensitive, you're too much," just chill out. Don't worry about it. Like if they
Mm-hmm.
kind of dismiss you when you're trying to actually be
Mm-hmm.
brave and say how you're feeling, and if they dismiss you or they tell you how you're feeling, please listen to that also.
Mm-hmm.
Because how on earth can someone tell you how you're feeling? You're the only one that knows how you're feeling.
Exactly. And you want someone to take it so, so seriously. Yeah, that kind of reaction is like pointing to their wounds, right? And they're feeling attacked and defensive and maybe not able to show up for you.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Let's switch gears up a little bit. Let's go to finding love again with eyes wide open. So
yeah.
we're at the point where we want to find love again.
Mm,
You mentioned the idea of dating with clarity and boundaries, all my favorite words.
mm.
What does that look like in real life?
So, I wrote a list. But really, I just realized I had this light bulb from my breakup, like, oh, you just chose someone who was going to love you. You didn't actually think about if their values aligned with yours. You didn't truly think about the type of partner that you want for yourself that matches your values in terms of ah, education and hard work and travel and adventure and fun and world views and just how we see things and mental health and social justice. And so it's really about deeply owning who you are. And so I've got really heart-centered values, right? I care deeply. And so, yeah, this light bulb of, oh my gosh, our values clash in so many ways. Start there. Because the idea is if I had done that, maybe I wouldn't have ended up with a person or prioritized a feeling of love. It's not just the love that matters. It's not just the emotions that matter. It's like, can you actually see yourself going in the same direction?
Mm.
And are they going to show up with integrity and care as you do? And so you can assess that pretty early on. You can talk about that in your dating profile. And I did. I think my dating profile was different. Again, I really talked about I did voice memos about what my green flags were and I wanted healthy communication. And I would look for that, on people's profiles and then a willingness to be a bit open and vulnerable. And so yeah, rather than just going, oh, they're attractive or they have a nice job or go a bit deeper than that because the stuff that we think matters doesn't really matter, right? Like, you
Yeah.
know, I love psychology. They don't have to love psychology, right? But it's, maybe we can have an intellectual discussion or we just care and so we'll be good listeners. And so you're flagging all of that from the get-go, actually. Because I think it's doing yourself this service, actually. It's like I have your back and I'm going to choose well this time.
Mm. Yeah. Choose well.
Yes.
And how do we know if when we're out there dating, how do we know if we're choosing from a healed
Mm.
place rather than doing the same thing that we've done before out of habit or fear?
Yeah, it's really good. I think watch the internal activation and the sense of anxiety. But I would say like a healthy partner will still trigger you. Like I definitely felt triggered when I was dating my partner. Maybe I didn't hear from him. He was busy, stuck in work. But what happened is when connection was back, we could talk about it. There would be understanding. I had to be patient. He could understand where I was coming from. And so we worked at it together. And so then going forward, the spikes were way less. They were really infrequent. And so that activation inside and lack of it really matters. But you're choosing safety, you're choosing communication. Um, so really deeply listen to yourself. Yeah. And then, the other part of that is your stuff. What does it mean to be healed? It means to understand things like don't lash out at your partner for something small that they did, right? You can soothe your own emotions. It means taking care of yourself. It means asking for your needs to be met, right? Are you having a kind, compassionate voice and an understanding voice? So it just feels different. Feel like a whole person, and we feel like ourselves when we're dating intentionally
Mm. With
and
dating
from
and
a healed.
when we're dating intentionally, how a lot of people can morph into the other person. Like they can,
Mm,
so they can be more liked and they could be like, oh, I watch these movies. Oh, me too. Whether
exactly.
they do or they don't, what's one way that we can kind of connect to
Yes.
our old self so we don't lose ourselves in a new relationship?
It's really, really good. So I have this client in my mind who's been dating person for a while, but um she's quite introverted and I'm like, man, I need a lot of time to rest and be on my own. And it's this part of her that was like all excited about the new person, say, yes, we can go out, or sure, you can come over. And she just had to watch that. And it was about listening to her energy and watching out for resentment, right? The resentment suggests that you're losing yourself, you're working beyond your capacity, you're prioritizing someone else's needs. So our
Mm.
feelings really matter. They're like these messengers, and please listen to them.
Yeah, they do. They do. And when we're in a healthy relationship, what are some things that we can do to help keep it healthy and secure and full of love? Like, what are a couple of things that we can give people today listening?
Mm. Hmm. So I think relationships need a balance. Like you need to have the more serious conversations about our future and planning ahead, but also be in the moment together, have fun together. I think as adults, we lose this playfulness and spontaneity. And so like our dog helps us do that. She keeps us silly and playful and light, and you would know that. um, yeah, and talk often, and don't forget that you're a team. So I think like learn each other's love languages, right? How you each give and receive love. And do little check-ins, about how you're tracking. Do we feel close? Do we feel a bit distant? Do you have enough time on your own? And people think they talk. My experience is people don't talk enough.
No.
They don't say what's happening inside. How are they feeling? What do they need? And so I just say to my partner, please tell me what's going on for you this week. Like, please tell me about your work, your stresses, your friends, because it just helps me have that empathy and compassion, and I can have reasonable expectations of you. Whatever you need to do to be happy, and if I have needs, I've got to ask for them.
Mm.
Um, but people need to talk more, I would say.
They need to talk a lot more.
And go deeper.
Yeah, and they need
Yeah,
to do it for themselves too. I
exactly.
can
Like
imagine,
check in.
yeah. Yeah, people going, oh, well, if I tell my partner something, I haven't even got it worked out yet. So how can I tell my partner something if I don't know what type of week? Because I'm on the hamster wheel.
Exactly.
I'm just ticking the boxes.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that beautiful, like, what's your energy today? How are you feeling? Like, sit with yourself for a moment.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then little things matter. So when I see couples as well for therapy, it's the little things that get tripped up. So when someone comes, on the odd occasion, it's something very, very, very big that's happened. But
Yes.
sometimes it's this, then this, then this, and that's where the
It's
resentment and the harboring
yes.
and then the detachment, and then they don't like it's just the little things do matter. The rubbish, taking
Yes.
the rubbish out does matter. Doing the dishes
Yes.
matter. The socks on the floor
Yes.
matter.
That's it. Because it's like, do you see me? Do you see my needs? Can I count on you? Do you see the stress that I'm under? It's being reliable. Um, yeah, you're right. It's like the small cuts that wear people down most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they leave it and they leave it and they leave it. It's like, please
Yep.
don't leave it.
Yeah. Say it straight away. And that's a difficult thing because people don't want to upset
Well,
anything. Or oh, they've had a bad day. Like if we're gonna wait for obviously timing is everything, but we can't
yes.
wait for that timing sometimes.
No, and women like don't want to be the nag, but the more you hold on to it, and so the more nagging you become, and you can actually do it in this really gentle, soft way.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And trust and believe your partner wants to know and understand. And they need reminders, right? They've got 50,000 things on their brain. Help them
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. What would you say to someone that's listening to this right now and they're feeling really hopeless about love? Like it's never going
Mm.
to come for me. Why should I bother? I have a certain type. It's all bullshit. It's probably not even real that you can find love. What would you say to
Oh,
them?
well, lots of validation, right? And lots of I get that sadness, and so like deeply understanding their story and where they're at. But I would still encourage that person to look at their patterns because I think that can empower them. And so sometimes the work is like actually cultivating hope and optimism. So it might be like seeing the good in people, seeing the man who like held the door open for you, or the person who acknowledged you on the way to work. Like there's good people out there. And as much as you want love, there's another human out there. There's so many of us out there who want love. And a lot of us have to get comfortable with the idea that we want love. It feels a bit shameful, because we're told to be happy on our own. No, you're allowed to want love. And so I would say, let's think about how we can cultivate hope in a really general sense, but then specifically about love and people who have been trustworthy and kind and good, and look at other patterns that may be holding you back. I mean, from that place, you might be really guarded, really shut off, really mistrusting, big walls up, skeptical and cynical about love. That's not an attractive energy, right? I get it. But even if we're not saying that out loud to people, I think that energy shows up, right? There's a rigidity and a closed off energy. And so I'd say, like, go to therapy and talk that through and understand where that comes from. And maybe your younger self needs hope and optimism and to restore trust in
Mm,
people, and you can do that healing work. I just I see so many women who leave the journey like 10 years, right? And then when they're ready, when someone is ready, that is so powerful. If they can open themselves up to then doing the work, that is so powerful. And then like a year of therapy, and we're like, okay, we've changed our life, we've made better friends, we're more open, we're more ourselves, we have more aligned hobbies and interests. And then one day you meet this guy on an app and he's a little different. But I think it comes from that decision that you're going to commit to working on that because it matters too much to you.
I think it comes from a decision of change, as in
Yeah.
you want to, like you said, you want to do things differently now. And also, I read something and I wish I
Mm,
could know where it was. I gave it to a client the other week for some homework, and I think she really liked it. And I thought it was a really nice way. So it
mm,
was like, I'm really big on this, like writing down what's really important to you and a partner.
mm.
I never did that before. I was like,
Yeah.
he'll do.
Correct. Same. Same.
So I wasn't really aiming very high. But now, I've got a really clear, it's not about ticking boxes. It's
No.
reminding all the healing I've done and remind me of what I'm deserving of and
Exactly.
reminding of what I will put up with, like what I will accept and what I won't accept. And it's
Yeah.
pulling me up to a higher standard, because what happens is I said
Mm,
to my client, I want you to write down, I want you to dream, and I want you to be as big and bold as you can.
mm,
To me, it was a man male she's attracted to. So I was
mm,
like, what does he look like? What does he do for a job? What are his hobbies? What are his values? What are his beliefs? What does he like to wear? What does he do on the weekend? And I said, just
mhm.
have fun with it. Like, just
Yes.
play with it and dream and have fun with it. And then I said, what I want you to do is then, from your dream kind of list and brainstorming sheet, write down some really core values and beliefs.
Beautiful.
Then what I want you to do is look at each one, number it from 0 to 10, so 0 low and 10 high,
Yeah.
where you, as your person, individually have those values. So for me, trust is really important.
Mm,
So for me right now, I really trust myself. So I'll put a 10. And health is very important. And right now, maybe I had some junk food and maybe I need to go back to the gym. So maybe my health is like a 5. So at
mm.
the moment, if I was to meet someone now, the mirror reflection of that 5 is their health could be, that's when we meet
Yes.
someone. So by having that list, not only does it grow your mind to expand, wow, what type of partner do I want?
Exactly.
But
And
also reflects
yes.
this back to ourselves. Like, if it's important in the partner, is it important to you? Do you actually carry those values first? And it gives us a bit of
Exactly.
a second to be like, oh, hang on. Yeah, I probably need to, do I not want him to leave wet socks around the house? Hang on, how clean is my house? Oh, okay, I need to work on that myself first. We're not working for perfection, and
No way. Exactly.
it's not about that, but it's about just maybe another way of thinking about how this all happens.
Yeah, and I think thinking, but also feeling, I think that's what imagery work does. I do quite a bit of visualization with clients in terms of healing old wounds. But things really shift in the body, emotions shift in the body when we imagine. And so I think, that example, someone becomes lighter and more hopeful and optimistic and can actually see it. And they might be looking for those types of people in their life, or, like letting go of friendships that don't share those values anymore. So, yeah, from imagery, I think we can then actually inhabit that in life.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it interesting that we live in an age where, I don't know, I think in the 1950s and 60s, people tend to meet at the pubs and the bars, or through
Exactly.
friends. It just happened, and now it's just we're so disjointed, and but the cool
Hmm.
thing about it is we can actually connect to more people.
Yeah, pros and cons of each. Absolutely. I've had clients who are older than me, and ask them about their past, and yeah, groups of friends would hang out together, and we're a little bit isolated now. And then I think the technology puts in a bit of a barrier, but on the other hand, you can be the person in the profile that stands out online and is more human and more vulnerable. And more options out there, right? And yeah, for all the people who are not online for the right reasons, they're the ones who really want what you want. Um, and open your mind up to that. And
Mm,
different people. I think the vision is really good. The values are really good. Don't be too rigid. I mean, the only way you know if someone is a good match is meeting them in person. Never know. I say I think I almost like swiped left on my partner. Because he didn't say, that, oh, you should say what you want and what you're looking for. And so he didn't say what he was looking for. But everything else kind of pointed to, I want a relationship and I'm ready for that. So, a little bit of openness is good.
Mm. Yeah, it's just such a thing that everyone deserves love, and we're built for this, and we're built,
Mm.
from an energetic point of view, we are made to meet our person. So what that does is that when you're healed, that lifts you to a next level to do more with your life and be more. And yes, they trigger you and you trigger them, but if you've got the tools, what it does is, oh, why is he really getting under my skin right now? Hang on. Let me check
Uh-huh.
in, let me check in with myself. What do I need to work on? It's got nothing to do with him. Yes, he's
Yeah.
probably pissing you off, but it's more like, hang on, I'm feeling triggered. This is my thing. What do
Hmm.
I need to, why is it doing it for me?
Exactly. Because, yeah, it can get so twisted up, right? And it's way bigger than our partner, way bigger.
It absolutely is. And it's so nice that this is a full circle moment for you, that, writing this book, you are with your partner and it's a healthy love, and that just makes me really happy for you.
Oh, thank you. I feel lucky, but I also feel like it makes sense, right? That's the benefit of doing the work. And I am lucky because I met him in a relatively quick period of time. I'd say like 5 months of dating. And it's different for everyone. But I want the key message to be, whether you're single, whether you're partnered, you connect to yourself and love yourself, and then you're just in that alignment, right? That energy radiates and it attracts more of the right people into your life.
Mm. And it's just a different place. Can you imagine, like, in all those relationships to where you are
Mm.
now? Can you imagine Phoebe would be where you are?
No, I just I could have just kept on doing more of the same. Um, but I also wasn't prepared to accept misery for myself and anxiety for myself. And I mean, I never knew who my partner was going to be, and you can't quite picture it. And I didn't picture actually how we'd be so different in a lot of ways, but there's this common theme of, we just work on our stuff, right? And, it's that secure base. We've like got each other's backs. So it's
Something
lucky.
that, yeah, yeah, but you both have, it's come to you for a reason. You're deserving of it. Something just before we go is kind of just sitting with me. I want to, since you're the expert, I want to ask you, for those people that are listening to this and have been married for a long time or together
Mm.
with someone for a long time, um, what I find, and it's heartbreaking, and
Mm.
longest time I was with someone for 8 years, and I certainly did it, is, and it just makes me sad thinking about it. People just settle and they're so miserable. They don't even talk to their partner anymore. They're like dying inside. They're
Mm.
in this relationship and they just sit in it day in, day out, day in, day out. What's the message that you can send to them today? Like, because I feel like I say it all the time and people don't hear me. So maybe if you say it in a different perspective, you might be the one penny that drops for them today.
Yeah, well, you are choosing the safety of what's familiar but uncomfortable, or the anxiety of possibility. And from chasing possibility, you're already strong, right? And I would say people are stronger than they know, and more capable than what they know. But I would think about your future self and what you owe your future self. And please know that I've seen humans who are so stuck, and I would have been one of them really easily. All you need is to make that choice, right? I've never met a person who's regretted leaving, actually. It's life can start over at any point, right? And
Mm.
it's that first step is the hardest thing, and then there's the next thing and the next thing. But if you can learn the tools of a loving connection to yourself, you will be okay.
Mm.
Yeah, but we get one life. Choose
We do.
wisely. Yeah.
Yeah, we do. See, there you go. There you go. Where can people find you? Can you give us, I'll put like your website and stuff in the show notes, but where's some ways that people can find you?
Yeah, definitely come to Instagram, the relationship space. I hang out there a lot. That's probably where I'm most active, and I love those connections. And definitely go to my website as well. So I'll talk about the book and pre-orders for the book. And it's worth saying for anyone who pre-orders, I'm going to host a webinar on the 1st of July, a little bit more behind the scenes of the book, healing tips, question and answer, and then a few little bonuses, discounting things to courses and all of that. Um, and actually, I think Booktopia has a pretty good price at the moment for my book. Yeah, it's on Amazon, so check it out.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a book. Anyone that knows me, I've come from the paper world, paper and print. So when I picked it up, I messaged Phoebe straight away. I was like, the print, I like the GSM of the pages. I got really nerdy with her about the book.
It's quite thick actually. Yeah, and the print is exceptional. The fonts are exceptional. Um, yeah, so lucky with my publisher. Yeah.
I nerded out on that stuff. But thank you so much for talking about a topic that, who would have thought that would be talking about love and, for all of us out there that are, wondering, it does do your head in sometimes. It doesn't really rent space in my head, but I mean, I'm talking about it now.
Yeah.
But then on the odd occasion, I'll just sit there and go, oh yeah, I wonder. And then it just kind of moves on. So it's such yeah, who would have thought?
Wow. I think we all, in some way, we want love, and I was just prepared to go after it. I decided it really mattered, and there's no, as long as you're happy, and that can look so many different versions.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
definitely. Thank you so much for I feel very honored that we've had this talk before the book. And
Yes.
I highly recommend. I have a copy, and I think I'm just going to refer to it so many times because it's just one of those books. And guys, it's really easy to read, really easy to read. Really nice because you actually learn a bit more about Phoebe, what she's been through, walks you through everything on how she was feeling and with the exercises. Like it's such a great guide. It's such a guide,
Thank you.
and it's also um it's one of those books that's like a bit about you, like I said in the beginning. It guides you through breakups and heartache and then finding love, and there's exercises, and then you learn all about your inner child, and you can then at the back, it's actually got a really cool, I'm not going to give it away, but I'm just going to say what the heading is. One of the
You
last
can.
one of the last pages, it's got, because I want people to buy your book. On page 240, it's the big conversations. Here's a list of talking points to review with your partner when things are becoming serious.
Mm-hmm.
It's from
Yeah.
a trusted person. So, I mean, I read that and thought, yeah, I might rip that out, put that in my wallet, and then when I'm sitting at dinner, I'll go, right, mate,
Go for
here's
it.
some big conversations.
Yeah, so it's like the whole trajectory. Good, you're gonna sit him down and sort it out all right from the beginning. But yeah, I'm not about vague fluff. People deserve to have tools, right? Specific healing tools. You don't want to go your whole life looking for answers, and I don't think you have to. Um, so it's heartfelt and it's really practical, and I hope everyone loves it.
Yeah, and thank you for just being so honest,
Oh, my pleasure.
so vulnerable, and walking us through those moments in your life, those hard times, those sad
Oh,
times, the tough times.
yeah, I mean there's the rock bottom and then there's the real rock bottom. There's a lot in there. Um, but that's only why I tell that for hope, and no one should feel ashamed. Like we all deserve to heal.
We do. Thank you so much for this chat today. I know people are going to take a lot away from it.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope this conversation has added value to your self-care journey and inspired positive changes in your life. If you enjoyed this episode, consider sharing it with a friend who might benefit from this episode. Don't forget to subscribe on Spotify or on your favourite podcast platform to stay up to date on future episodes. Your support means the world to me. I genuinely love hearing from you, so please take a moment to leave a review. Let me know which part of today's episode resonated with you the most. Your feedback guides the direction of this podcast, and I really appreciate each and every single one of you for being a part of this community. To fall in love with yourself is the first secret to happiness. To find out a bit more about the Studio Chat podcast, head over to my Instagram page, Studio Chat Podcast, or if you want to find out a bit more about my counselling private practice, head over to Instagram on self_care_studio. I'm really looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. Until next time, take care of yourselves and keep embracing the journey of self-discovery.